the Royals Rundown, powered by Royals Report.
Welcome, everyone, to yet again another Royals Rundown here today. I am your host here, Evan Dickinson, otherwise known as Nordic 97 or Royals Report, covering all of Reading Royals hockey and minor league hockey around Eastern Pennsylvania. So, today, the Reading Royals have completed their opening weekend, playing two games, one of them north of the border against the Trois-Rivières Lions, and then one of them somewhat south of the border against the Maine Mariners. And coming out of that weekend, they took 3 of 4 points, which is pretty impressive to open up their weekend. And they started off on Friday against Trois-Rivières. They played a real back-and-forth game. There was a total of 11 goals scored. The starting goalies on each side were Yaniv Peretz and Hunter Jones for each team. And overall, I thought both teams played pretty solid throughout the whole game. I really liked the competitiveness, though, with the Royals. The way the Royals were playing, the way they were coming back in some of these games, the way they were coming back and taking the lead. One thing that I did see a lot in this game especially is it kind of felt like their ways of last year. Last year, a lot of the time, they were blowing leads and, they would lose. Teams would tie the game against them in the last second. They would struggle to score empty net goals. And we saw a little bit of that here in this game, but there was a lot of positives to take away from this one. First off, you start off in the first period. Brandon Sagen scores his first goal as a Royal from Ivan Mongo to make it a 1-0 game. Then Jordan Frasca joins him right afterwards and makes it a 2-0 game just about a minute and a half later. And then just at the end of the first period, Derek Louis-Jane, assisted by the player that I wanted to watch out for that I put in the preview, Anthony Burgard, makes it a 2-1 game after 20 minutes of play. Now, we'll go back to Burgard in a minute because he's a little bit of deja vu, funny enough. The second period, the Royals do get one back. Not that long into the period, Jacob Frasca, the brother of Jordan, scores his first goal, assisted by Massimo Rizzo, obviously the guy who was sent down to Reading from the Flyers. And then Jake Willits gets his first Royals assist there as well. It's 3-1. Not long after that, I'd say about 5 minutes later, Igor Guryanov gets the next goal. Then it's a 3-2 game, ending through 40 minutes of play. The Royals go into the next period. They are up 3-2, and they try and hold it down, but Trois-Rivières answers in less than 30 seconds. Joe Dunlap gets the first one. It's 3-3, and then not long afterwards, less than a minute, Mark Estapa gets the next one there for Trois-Rivières, and suddenly it's 4-3 Lions. And the Royals went from a lead in that third period to being down, and you just look all of a sudden, you're like, wait a minute, what just happened? Where'd the lead go? It came right back, not that long afterwards. Jordan Frasca gets his second of the game, which he has been phenomenal down the stretch. The Frasca brothers have been incredible for the Royals. They've been great. Assisted by Ethan Zamaj and Connor McMenamin, which makes it a 4-4 game. We are tied here in the third period. And then not long afterwards, not even 20 seconds later, Ivan Mongo gets his first goal of the year, one of the few Royals who is returning from last year, assisted by Patrick Moynihan, makes it a 5-4 Royals lead with about 11 minutes to go in the third period. So remember when I mentioned that the Royals last year really struggled with keeping a 1-goal lead through the later minutes of periods? We saw it even last year against Trois-Rivières late in Game 3. They had a lead with 3 seconds to go, and the Lions tied it. And they lost that game in double overtime. Well, the same thing kind of happened here. With about 40 or 38 seconds left here in the third period, Anthony Burgard, who again I said was the player to watch, tied the game for Trois-Rivières, assisted by Highland and Dufort, who Dufort, I believe, had 3 assists tonight. He looked pretty good in that game. And he ties the game up there at 5 apiece. 10 goals through those first couple of games. And then you head into overtime. Overtime does not go very long. Anthony Bergard gets it once again. So that's 2 goals right there in just a span of a couple of minutes, technically. And suddenly the Royals drop that game. Now, again, this is the Kelly Cup champions, and they really showed in this game why they were the Kelly Cup champions. They really showed that. This is a phenomenal team. They play that hard level. They play that hard way. This was a physical game. There was a controversial play that a lot of Royals fans were very unhappy with. It looked like the Lions captain did spit on Nolan Burke during a play. We did not see any supplementary discipline from it. And there's been a lot of uproar about Royals fans with that overall moment. So I did want to bring that up here before we move on. But regardless, the Royals, when you look at it from this perspective, I didn't think they played bad. It was a back and forth game. And you have games like that sometimes. You have games where there's goals being scored left and right. You have those games happen sometimes. And to be honest with you, I looked at this game. I really didn't complain that much. Trois Rivera is a good roster. I thought the Royals pretty much played to their level, though. This wasn't a game where the Royals were heavily outplayed or they played terrible. I thought they looked good, to be honest with you. I thought they looked like a good hockey team. And I really didn't have that many complaints about this opening game here against Trois Rivera. I really did not. So then obviously they have the day off on Saturday. They traveled down to Maine, the Cross Insurance Arena in Portland, not Oregon, Portland, Maine, to take on the Mariners. And Luke Cavalin, I for some reason said he was Cormier. I confused him with a prospect on Vegas for some reason. You guys know I do other content, but I confused him with that. But Luke Cavalin, who won the Goalie of the Year last year, is in net for this game, back-to-back with travel involved, which is very interesting. One thing that I wanted to highlight here, there were no goals in that first period, but Jacob Perreault, former first-round pick in the NHL draft, is playing in this game for Maine. I was a little bit shocked by that. He was drafted in the first round back in 2020 with the Anaheim Ducks. He's bounced around the league since then, and he's here with Maine in the ECHL. I was like, wow, interesting. So, first period goes by, there's no goals. Royals get outshot 13-8 in that first period. And in the second period, they come out guns a-blazing. Shots in that period were 17-9 in favor of the Royals. They had 17 shots in that period. And as a result, they get their first goal. Artem Kulikov in the final minute of that middle frame, assisted by Carson Golder, who got his first Royals point, and then Massimo Rizzo, who gets his second Royals assist in 2 games here, gets the Royals the 1-0 lead. Heading into that third period, there's a lot of positives to take out from that. In the third period, they score pretty much right away. Jordan Frasca, his third goal. His third goal in 2 games gives the Royals a 2-0 lead there very early into the second period, or the third period. And that was a really good motivational goal there, and it really kind of got the Royals back into playing really well. So time goes by, the Royals take a couple of penalties. I really didn't see anything crazy. The refs were calling a lot of penalties. It did feel like an even game for the most part. The Royals were getting calls, the Mariners were getting calls. From a referee perspective, it felt a lot more even. So Nick Capone last year was obviously a Royal. He played 49 professional games last year. He had 7 assists. He's coming from college prior. And in his 51st game this year, he scores his first career goal. Assisted by Kyle Haskins, makes it a 3-0 Royals lead. And you knew right there that was it. That was it. The Royals were winning this game. Maine did pull their goalie, and Connor McMenamin got an empty net goal there, his first of the year from Brandon Sajan. And as a result, the Royals do take home this game with a 4-0 win. So Ryan Bizzarro, who is great with the Royals fan group on Facebook and is a really good Royals fan and insider, he reported and said that this was the first Royals shutout since February of 2024. February of 2024. I was a little bit shocked by that. The first goalie for the Royals who's gotten a road shutout in 3 years. 3 years. Wow. So that was really shocking there. I thought that was a great stat. And I think that Keith Petruzzelli, who got the shutout tonight, played phenomenal. It's really good, though, to see them go into a game like that against Luke Cavalin, who they've struggled against before, and put up goals. it was really good to see. So I really like how the Royals played in this game. I thought they really kind of controlled play for most of it. Seeing, these players pick up goals like Jordan Frasca has been phenomenal. Nick Capone gets goal. You're getting production from all up and down your lineup. And I really like that there from Reading. What they really kind of didn't get a lot of last year was they had a lot of guys fluctuating through the system, a lot of injuries they dealt with, more than usual, and you weren't getting production from everywhere in your system. And through these two games, we're seeing multiple different guys get on the score sheet here, whether it's, assists or it's, goals from your fourth or third liners. We're seeing production. We're seeing that. And I really like that there from Reading. And I think that was something that we really missed last season that I've really liked a lot of this year. So I definitely wanted to give some credit there with that because I think they've been phenomenal. My player of the week is Jordan Frasca, who scored 3 goals in 2 games during this weekend. He was absolutely phenomenal for the Royals. And again, that's a guy who was picked up by Peters during this offseason along with his brother, and they've both been really good acquisitions. I also want to give a shout out to Keith Petruzzelli, who was named the ECHL's goalie of the week for the first week of the season. Obviously picked up that shutout against Maine. Again, really good game there from Keith, and there's a lot of good things to look at there with him overall as a player and with the Royals as an overall team. Now, before we do wrap up this edition of the Royals Rundown, I do want to give a shout out to our friends up in Lehigh Valley with the Phantoms. They have played some pretty good hockey, most notably Alexei Kolosov, who picked up his first professional shutout with the Phantoms on Saturday against Ivan Fedotov and the Cleveland Monsters. And then Carson Bjarnason picked up his first pro win as well during that weekend. Kolosov undefeated in the AHL, a 1 goals against average, a .969 save percentage through 2 games played. And Bjarnason, a 2.41, a 1-1-1 record with a .922 save percentage. Overall, he has been pretty good there as well. When you look at some of the forwards here for Lehigh Valley who have been performing, you see a lot of the players who came over from college, like Devin Kaplan, came over from Boston University, has 4 points in 3 games. Carson Dorwart is 3 points in 4 games. Denver Barkey, coming from London, has 2 points in 4 games played there as well. Same with Alex Bump. Overall, the Flyers have really helped build up a really solid Lehigh Valley Phantoms team here, with a lot of players last year who were mainly deaf guys. And there's a lot to be excited with here with a lot of these players. So just wanted to give a shout out there to Lehigh Valley Phantoms here before we wrap up. But anyways, that is it for this episode of the Royals Rundown. I am so sorry it took me until around this time to upload it. Obviously, I lost power at my house last night as I was recording this, and I really didn't have time to do much else with it. But thank you all so much for watching or listening. You can follow Royals Report on Instagram, Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter at Nordic97B. Thank you all for watching. Let's go Royals.